The most Googled man on earth finally gets an interview with the BBC. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Andrew Tate.
Controversial influencer Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
We did an interview with him before he got surprisingly arrested and thrown in jail for 4 months. But anyway, make a long story short, while he was in jail, according to news here, over 29 assets, including 15 sports cars and 14 luxury watches, according to a statement from the Romanian Asset Recovery Management Agency, was confiscated from his property. And now, from his first interview done after being released from prison and now currently on home arrest, he does an interview with BBC. How to do? Let's take a look at this. I'm sure there'll be some surprising conversation back and forth because he's not a guy to be bullied. Pretty sure he's pretty pissed, but let's see his demeanor here. Andrew Tate on the BBC interview. Check this out.
It's a massive shame that the BBC come here and try and push and purport this idea that I'm a dangerous person. I'm anti-drugs. I've never pushed drugs or any. I'm anti-drugs. I'm anti-violence. The UK is facing a knife crime epidemic, and they're going to sit here and say that I'm the most dangerous man in the UK.
You have said you're the most dangerous man in the world.
I've said I'm the most dangerous man in the world.
All right, it's already starting. First 20 seconds of this interview is already starting off pretty tough. I mean, look at the body language of the interview from the BBC. I'm not even seeing that she's put herself together. Her hair is still in a bun. I'm not so sure what type of interview it's supposed to be. It was just supposed to be something that exposes what's going on in Romania illegitimately, with them charging Tate with these type of crimes based on Tate's understanding of what's being charged against him. That's illegitimate, that these are false claims. He's been released. Instead, the position of this reporter from the BBC is already animalistic. By the way, I've just noticed every time I see Tate, he's always got this, you guys know what this is? What does this mean? Is this like some Illuminati stuff? By the way, good guy. I had great conversation with him. A lot of the things that as you get to know the guy, my CEO mentor, Patrick, had a 4 or 5 hour podcast with him. Completely different dynamic than what's going on with that podcast versus what you see here on this BBC interview for the first 20 seconds.
You've also said that a woman's intimate parts belong to her male partner. I'm glad you find that funny.
I find it funny that you're sitting here saying that I've said I'm the most dangerous man in the world, and you believe that's. When did I say that?
I'm asking if you believe it.
No, you said you're the most dangerous man in the world. Is that some kind of proof that I'm dangerous? Am I Dr. Evil now? I'm telling you that it's very upsetting that you're going to sit here and that certain organizations in the world are going to try and pretend that I'm the biggest force of evil on earth when I'm genuinely a force for good. I'm genuinely a force for good. And the reason they're doing this is because of the massive influence I have over the youth, and they don't like that I'm telling the youth to think outside of the matrix and ignore things like the BBC, which come here with loaded questions and false narratives and try and paint innocent people as guilty.
You said women's intimate parts belong to their male partner.
I said that if a woman marries a man, she takes his last name and traditionally the man gives her away.
Okay. First of all, the interview is really trying to corner him and put words in her mouth, and looks like the way she's positioned these type of questions, she's trying to get a gotcha moment. Like, aha, I got you on camera, I got you on tape. She's basically taking what she sees online through TikToks, 30-second, 60-second reels, and trying to say, hey, this is what you said, trying to hold him to that. And we all know all these different edits out there. And then you can clip where certain things may come out of his mouth out of context and it sounds bad.
I've been pushing traditional religious beliefs because I'm a religious man, and traditional beliefs in regards to marriage, which everybody accepted 10 to 15 years ago.
So
that's not a crazy conspiracy theory. If you're going to sit here and say that me believing a woman should take a man's last name in marriage makes me the most dangerous man in the world, then you're just going to lose your
forget about it, right?
He's already lost
exactly.
The last 4 to 5 years.
Come on.
If that's your point, if that's
your narrative,
you want to
say that
good
men
luck.
should be able to sleep with a lot of women outside marriage. That doesn't sound very religious or very conservative.
That's not what I said they should be able to. I said a lot of high-value men, a lot of rich men do it. And then we discussed at length on podcasts why rich men do it. And we also discussed why women decide to be unfaithful. It's not a gendered argument. We discussed unfaithfulness as a whole. Both
sides,
what are
okay.
the reasons and motivations for men, and what are the reasons and motivations for women. Because you have no time to actually, watch my content, because you have no time to actually.
By the way, it's so annoying. She's trying to tell him what he's saying. Like the person that you're accusing that said these words, he's sharing with you what he says, but yet still you're not listening, and she's still trying to shove what he said on a Instagram piece of content down his throat, and he's trying to clarify it, and she's not listening. Obviously, they're trying to put him in a corner to get a gotcha moment.
Watch my content at length. and understand what I'm saying. You just come here with a small snippet, which has been provided to you on a piece
There
of
it
paper.
is.
Sometimes doesn't make it true.
No, completely. You don't have a clue what I say or what I talk about. You never watch my content. You have small
said.
pieces of paper.
You
small
said.
clips on a piece of paper.
Okay.
You're trying to
That's
pretend
so
I'm saying
annoying.
different things. And then you're going to say I'm the most dangerous man in the world.
It's not an
Which is
interview.
true.
This is an argument.
Not me.
Okay. Do you believe I'm the
You
most
say.
dangerous man in the world, Lucy?
I'm not answering your questions.
Well, then we need to change the dynamic of this interview.
Listen, that was just arrogant right there. I'm not answering her questions. Is she superior? This is a conversation. This is an interview. When I'm doing an interview with somebody, it's a conversation. It's back and forth. She's obviously been told by the BBC and what he calls legacy media, the mainstream media, that let's try to get something on this guy. So therefore we have something of relevance to share in our news cycle for later on tonight or tomorrow. And it can hang so people keep coming back to our media network to watch more content as these things unfold. I don't know.
I allowed you into my home. I'm doing you a favor, giving you the first interview I'm giving to the public. You don't come here with a position of authority. You're not the police.
Tell
I
her.
respect
Tell
you.
her.
I don't know you. You do not come here with a position of authority over me. We are equals. We are people.
There you go. Good.
Of the world, and we sit here as equals. And I see you as my equal. And if you ask me questions, I can ask you questions back. For you to come here and sit down and pretend you're going to stop and that you don't have to answer my questions is disingenuous because I don't owe you.
That was a great response to her positioning. This is how you don't get bullied. He didn't get mad. He didn't get upset. He's controlled, self-controlled. He's explaining himself. He's articulating himself. Folks, listen, when you get into an argument with somebody, it's the person that's showing the most self-control. You as a man have a responsibility to use self-control. It's very easy to slip out of it. And I'm glad he's decided to keep it tight and control himself in this moment. Because listen, I would have gotten upset at this moment. So, hey, salute.
And you answer
But I don't owe, no,
however you want.
this is a conversation. And
It
I
is a
don't
conversation.
owe you any degree of authority over
Right,
it. So let's
right.
make that clear. And that doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman or from the BBC or the CNN. I'm here to
You
answer
just
your
said-
questions and be honest with you and do you a favor.
Great.
And I'm doing you a favor. But you come here with loaded questions. You're trying to paint a narrative of me which is negative.
I'm asking you
And
about
that's
things
fine.
you've said that people are concerned about.
And that's fine.
You
But you're
have
not
said-
going to sit here and
This
say
is
you
a-
don't answer
this is
my
a horrible
questions.
interview
You're
so
not
far.
welcome.
So, just to put on the record then, you've said that you've invited us into your house.
Correct.
We're here because you're under house arrest.
Correct.
If you were free to leave, we would have negotiated a more neutral setting.
Don't you think, as the BBC, it would be very interesting to come here and discuss the fact that I was put in a dungeon for 92 days
Wow.
and then locked in house arrest without charge? Don't you think
Yeah,
that's
ask
a far
that
more
question.
interesting conversation than old YouTube snippets? Don't you think that would be interesting?
You're here under house arrest because there's an ongoing investigation into and human trafficking allegations against
Correct. I've been incarcerated without charge. And don't you think?
Allegation is
It's been
not
dropped.
Has been incarcerated for.
Correct. So I'm incarcerated without charge, and I think that would be a far more interesting conversation than I guess Julian.
She's not listening to him. She's just reading her notes. Look at her. She's not even listening to him.
If you actually want,
She's preparing for her next move.
We can talk about the fact
Without
that this
listening.
man who has yet to be charged with a crime has had his liberty deprived of him.
Listen, I've done a lot of interviews in my career, and I've got a certain script that I think I'm going to prepare the conversation about. But as soon as they say something, I take it off on that tangent. I'm listening because I'm using my active listening skills to take the conversation to a high level if it's meant for an actual interview. This is a Law and Order type of agenda right here, where she's trying to get him in a moment where she can catch him and have whoever needs to get a clip of that on record for them to continue doing what they continue doing in a negative way.
I think that would be a far more interesting angle than talking about me being the most dangerous man in the world because I own a car.
And this question about schools being very worried about your influence.
Yes.
Boys in primary school or boys as young as 11 are quoting you at school,
Yeah.
attacking girls, refusing to respect female teachers.
Yeah.
Would you like to say anything about that?
I'd like to say a lot.
Well, by the way, apparently Andrew Tate has a large influence on younger males, so somewhat fairly decent question there.
I am a positive force for the world, and I teach children discipline. I teach the world discipline, male or female, of any age. And a lot of women listen to me as well. 40% of the people who listen to me are actually female. Secondly, I do understand with my massive influence, and I am now the one of the most influential people on the planet, that I do have to be slightly more careful with things I say. I'm not going to disagree with that. The idea that I said something 5 years ago on a video that got 300 views.
So what do you mean, being slightly more careful?
I'll give you an example. Some of the jokes I made 4 or 5 years ago on a YouTube channel that got 300 views, I would no longer make.
Like what?
Like the OnlyFans joke, the one you mentioned repeatedly. When she said, "My man's car is my car," and then she said she did OnlyFans, and I said, "What do you sell on OnlyFans?" She said, "My tits," and I said, "Well, those are your man's tits." As a joke, ha ha ha. Everybody laughed. The fact that I could do that on a podcast 5 years ago and only got 300 views, now I understand I'm the most influential man on the face of the planet. I would be more careful with certain things I say. That doesn't mean the things I originally said were genuinely out to harm people.
Do you really believe you're the most influential man on the face of the planet?
I'm the most Googled person on the planet.
Do you believe you're the most influential man on the face of the planet?
I'm the
Why
most
she asked
Googled
that
man on
again?
the planet.
I think we're done.
She's doing this, like she's angry. Like, does he owe her something? Like, I don't know, did he piss her off to something? I mean, were they dating before? Did he like cross one of her girlfriends or sisters? The way she's approaching this as a professional journalist is out of character if you're actually doing journalism. She was there pissed off for a reason. I don't know why. And Tate's not getting bullied by it. Listen, when you're looking at where boys are at in school today, I said this on my podcast, it's crazy that in this world, it's okay for teachers to teach their kids in drag, but it's not okay for teachers to pray for the students in class. I don't get it. Is that radical? Is those values and principles something that's off? Don't get bullied because you think your values and principles of righteousness, having good character and nature is being attacked, because those that have those values and principles, you are being attacked. Other people want you to be empathetic to their situation, but they can't be empathetic to your decision, be conservative in your values and principles, or grounded in the things that you believe in, your moral character and what you have been raised in to be true. What we're experiencing today is not brand new. What we're experiencing today has transcended human history. And if you want to use values and principles, not just what they teach in schools or based on what's on social media today, you need to find the values and principles that allow you to transcend and skyrocket above and to be an influencer for good based on what's going on in society today. That being said, crazy interview here with the BBC. They had an opportunity to do something awesome, but they didn't. They blew it, and they're getting more negative attention than good. And Andrew Tate is calling them out on it. If you got value from this reaction, please hit subscribe and hit like. Let us know what your thoughts and feedback is in the comment section below. That being said, from Dallas, Texas, I'm your money smart guy. And until we meet again, continue to live smart, continue to love smart, and be money smart today.